Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thanks very much for watching that earwax removal compilation video today. 3 patients in this compilation video. So you can see this first patient's got this very hard little piece of dry, dark colour wax here. It's really firmly holding on to that ear canal wall. So we're going to need to lift this off, detach it from the canal wall before we can start to bring this down the canal. So you can see a lot of dry skin underneath there where it's really kind of dried around those lifts of dry skin at the entrance to the canal, which is what's held it in place. So as the wax is trying to migrate out, because we know that wax tries to migrate out all the time, when it gets to the entrance to the canal, if you've got these little kind of dry skin lifts, it'll hold on to those. So we're going to bring the St. Bart's hook in here. We're just going to see if we can sneak over the top. Now this is perfect for the St. Bart's hook because you've got this quite big gap above the top of the wax, so it allows us to accommodate that tool really easily, and then we can roll this like a little boulder down the ear canal. There we go. Very kind of Indiana Jones-esque as it's coming down the ear canal there. But there we are, we can see that, that plug of wax. You'll see a little tail of dry skin. There we are, that's what was holding this in place. If we take a look behind, there's the eardrum. Now there is a little bit of scar tissue, which I'll show you in a second. So this is what it looks like before and now after. That's a little bit of scar tissue. Now interestingly, this patient did have a history of perforation to the eardrum, and this is the scar tissue that's left behind. So you get these white cloudy patches. So this is 1 centimetre's worth of wax. So we're going to call that 7/16 of an inch. I'm going to call that one, so just under half an inch, that one. Really tough little piece of wax, that one as well. It's been in there a little while, so it had really dried out and hardened up quite firmly there. So this is the second patient in the compilation. You can see quite a bit of wax in here, a little gap down the one side there. We just about see the eardrum through the gap. So we're going to go in now and see if we can remove this little section here. So let's get the suction tube on this. Now the first thing I always try and do is just get a little bit of a grip on with the suction tube, see how well it moves, and this one came out really well. You can see we've managed to bring this forwards. Now this was a really interesting case. Now this particular patient didn't really experience any hearing issues, but they did work in quite a noisy environment, so wanted their ears checked. But what they were experiencing was a little bit of tinnitus just on this one side. Now, when we get a patient come through with tinnitus, we always check for wax first of all. You can see we've got this hard little bit of wax and again, this dry piece of skin sitting behind. But that's not really the issue. We had a nice big gap down the one side, so the sound can get through really easily. But take a look now, once we've got this little section free here, you can see it's holding on really tightly. Let's get the crocodile forceps on here. Really good for crocodile forceps. Let's break, there we go. You can see that dry piece of skin continue out the ear canal there. There we go. So that's that whole section you can see with that long strip of dry skin. But take a look behind this now. Look down at the eardrum, at the bottom of the eardrum. You can see that little section there. Now what this is actually a piece of dry skin. That's migrated off the eardrum because skin is constantly trying to migrate off the eardrum all the time, and that's what forms our ear canal wall skin. And then it's settled down in that little recess you can see there. So that little valley we talk about just in front of the eardrum. And because it was this little bit of dry skin that had migrated off, what we have then is a piece of dry skin attached to the eardrum and then also attached to the canal wall. So what that does, it binds those together. So what you end up with is the eardrum would be able to vibrate, but that vibration would be reduced slightly because of this dry skin attachment. So what I've done here is popped a little bit of olive oil in. It's not an easy one to get out because you can see we've got this little bump here to the left hand side. So we've got this slight narrowing to the canal just in front of the eardrum. But as you can see, as I'm trying to lift this, you'll see the olive oil's just made that a little bit fuzzy there on the one side. But as I'm trying to lift this, you'll see that whole section of skin just lifting out of that bottom portion of the ear canal. But it still wants to hold on there really tightly. So I'm trying to lift it. I don't want to push it against the drum, which would be really uncomfortable for the patient. We don't want to hit the canal walls because that would also be really uncomfortable for the patient. So we're just very gently trying to lift this whole section. Let's see if we can get a hold of that top section because it's folded forward, so more towards the camera here. But you can see as I'm lifting, it doesn't want to let go. It's really holding tight in there. So we're going to hold this on with the suction. Let's let the suction build its pressure a little bit just on this particular section, and there we go. That's the grip we needed. You can see it detach a little bit of dry skin from the one side of the canal wall there, and out that little piece comes. So you can see that long strip of dry skin we were talking about. The piece to the left hand side, that's that tiny little bit we removed last. So what we got there, 15/16 of an inch, and we are just under 2.5 centimeters on that one when you put it all together. So not a tremendous amount of wax in itself, but enough there to be causing some real problems for this particular patient. Oh no, this lovely gent came through this morning. We actually squeezed him into one of our cancellation slots. So he came through, not prepared the ears at all, because he came through sort of very last minute and got into one of our cancellations. And what we can see here is we've got very, very dry wax. Patient works in a really dusty environment. It does tend to draw a lot of the sort of the oils out of the wax and dry it out. Perfect for the St. Barts hook. We've got this really tough old lump of wax here. I think the St. Barts hook's been this twice now. It doesn't come out very often, but it's been twice in this video. So we're really starting to kind of detach this, roll it. Now this was dried solidly onto the canal wall. We had to put quite a bit of pressure behind it to roll this forwards, and we get that, like I said to you before, that kind of Indiana Jones, that kind of ball rolling down the ear canal. This is what's happening here, this kind of rolling effect of the earwax here. So we're just gonna nip this out. Lots of hairs in there as well. You can see very, very dark, very dried out, very solid piece of wax, this one. A lot of dry skin underneath. You can see those little white lines over the top of the wax, and that's the dry skin that this wax has really been holding on to here. So I'm just going to lift up so you can get a good look at this. There we go. Now if we'll take a look behind that, we can see there's a little touch of dry skin. Eardrum looks really, really good there though. A little bit of redness there, understandable, because it was so firmly attached to that canal wall. Patient hasn't had a chance to put any olive oil in there. But as we detached that there, it took some of that dry skin, all the little blood vessels come to the surface. It's not bleeding, it's just everything's a little bit pink and aggravated. Give it a couple of hours, that will settle down and go back to its normal look as well. So there we are. This is what it looked like at the start. And this is what it looks like now. So you can see a massive difference in that ear canal. The reason the patient wanted to get this done, they were finding their hearing was really, really intermittent. So when they were going to bed at night, they were finding when they sort of lay on their ears, they were feeling really, really blocked up when they woke up in the morning. And this was happening periodically. Patient, whenever they bathed or showered, got some water in their ears, it was really uncomfortable. And that's all due to this wax. So we're going to, similar story here, we're just going to use the St. Barts hook. Now the difference with this side, as we start to pull this forwards, what you'll see is the St. Barts actually pulls through the wax. So not quite as solid on this side, more of this sort of sticky clay type wax. So we're going to switch now to the Jobson horn while it's just at the entrance here. We're just going to scoop this out of the ear canal. So we're just going to cut across on the one side now. That scooping motion, so pulling forwards and around the side, trying to keep all of this ball of wax together here. There we go. And out that comes. You can see a little bits of dry skin underneath as well. Eardrum on that side looking lovely. So this is what it looked like at the start. And this is what it looks like at the end. So you can see a massive difference there as well. So pretty similar size pieces of wax there. So we've got, what, 1.5 centimeters, sort of 5/8 of an inch there. So quite big, you know, pieces in themselves, not completely blocking the ear canal, both sitting right at the entrance. Don't forget, wax is always trying to get out of your ear, but sometimes when it reaches that entrance to the ear canal, it's a little bit too dry. It can't quite absorb enough oil to soften that up, so it ends up falling out of the ear, so it ends up sticking to the ear canal and drying out there. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that video as much as I did voicing it over. We'll be back again now. What is it? Thursday. We're back again on Saturday. So I shall see you on Saturday for our next video. As always, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your ears, and take care of one another. And I'll see you again real soon. Bye, everyone.